What is up, guys? Taft Hardington here for the Mage race and spec video. Um, so I haven't been able to do the testing that I want to do with all the different race and sex combinations on all the different jumps. Um, I want to do that, but it's kind of difficult to do it because of, cross-round BGs. I think over this sort of break between Christmas and New Year's, I should be able to get, um, a game going with the Alliance players where we can kind of control the game and just do all this testing, and I'll record all of that and make an entire video specifically to the race sex combination for each of the jumps. So, because it's like you've probably seen on the other race and spec videos that I have a pinned comment on there saying that, Blizzard has definitely changed the jump mechanics of the game, and so because of that, I don't want to give false information. So I'm going to kind of shy away from what was previously known. Some of the stuff is known, um, but it's different now. Like, for example, um, gnome female and like undead female and human female would have been the only three that can go through the center of Alliance fence. Well, now I know that um, like, say, undead male is able to jump over it, um, but I don't know like the full extent as to how well can, like, what particular jumps can undead male jump over, um, and does it require two jumps or does it require three? Because I know for like male tauren, they can do an offset jump with only two to go over alliance fence north to south. So it gets really particular and kind of hairy. So I am going to shy away from it, but I can tell you for a fact that female human, female gnome, and female undead can all go through the middle of Alliance fence very easily. And there's also another hole near Alliance graveyard along Alliance fence, which those can freely walk through. Um, but again, we're gonna do. I'm gonna try and get a game set up where we can just control the game entirely, and just do all these different jumps on all these different models, so that we have a clear understanding of what's what in terms of jump boxes and the particular jumps. We'll probably go over like some new jumps as well. So kind of sorry for that long intro. But I did just kind of want to give y'all an update as to where we're at in terms of our understanding of jump boxes. Um, so let's look at base stats of Alliance for the mages. Human, 20 strength, 20 agility. So we're not concerned really at all with strength. Um, we're a tad bit concerned about agility because it does give us, dodge, armor, and a little bit on wand damage. Stamina is definitely something we want to be considering. It's probably the primary, or I guess it is really the primary stat that we're considering. And intellect is nice. It's definitely bigger than agility and strength, but not nearly to the level of stamina. And spirit, I would say, is about equal to strength. Um, so we see, let's just kind of ignore strength and let's only look at agility, stam, intellect, and spirit. For the primary stat, stam, humans at 20, gnomes at 19. Already we're in favor of humans. Intellect for human 23, intellect for gnome 27. That's significant, but is that enough to outweigh the one stam. I would say yeah. I'd say once you go probably past like three, um, once you go past three intellect for one stamina, I would say it would be worth. Spirit 23, 22, not that big of a deal, but we also see three more agility on gnome than we see on human. Um, so altogether, gnome seems to have the better base stats, albeit with one less stam. But I think if you're sacrificing one stam for 4 int and 3 agility, I would easily make that sacrifice in base stats. If we take a look at the horde base stats, we can see undead has 21 stamina and troll has 21 stamina, so neutral there. Intellect for undead is 27 and intellect for troll is 19. So we see undead is heavily favored. That is a disgusting difference, honestly, of 8 intellect. This is massive. And we see undead's agility at 18 and troll's agility at 22. Um, yeah, I really can't see what it's a difference of 4. I really can't see troll. It would have to be something with the troll racial to really convince me of going troll because they're at the same stam. Undead has 8 more intellect. They also have 2 less spirit, but spirit is very minor for mage at 19. I would say the agility might be, uh, something that we would look at a little bit more. But I don't think even with the 4 more agility, the 1 more spirit, I still don't see that difference being made up with a difference of 8 intellect. So off the bat, we can see gnome and undead being the favored classes, or sorry, the favored races of mage at 19. So let's take a look at racials and what we can expect. Um, so just to give you an idea, a hunter and a priest are going to be your 2 biggest issues as a mage at 19. They're going to be the 2 classes that are going to give you the most trouble. So whenever we look at these, we want to look at it through that lens of um, what's going to help us with hunters, what's going to help us with priests, because they're going to be the biggest, our biggest competitors. So perception, dramatically increased stealth for 20 seconds. Very nice. It's great to be able to see a rogue, but I would say it's not all that big because generally you can see a rogue and he'll go stealth. And a lot of the best mages I've ever played against, they know where you're gonna be. They know where you're trying to get to while you're in stealth, and they'll flame strike right in your path, and either stop you and force you to reroute, or catch you out of stealth with the flame strike. So, I mean, perception is nice for that. But again, rogues aren't that big of a deal because you can kite them into infinity. But it is definitely nice. Sword skill. Um, if you're going with the Shadow Fang, that whole thing, I could kind of see, sword skill being sort of nice. Mace skill not applicable. Human spirit, spirit by 5%. That's nice. Not really what we're after with mage though. And diplomacy, rep gains by 10%. It's not going to help you. It's just going to make things, your rep gain go faster. So not really much of a consideration there. The gnome racials I'm all about, especially for a mage. Escape artist, which is a 1 minute cooldown, mind you. Most racials are 2-3 minutes. Escape artist is a 1 minute cooldown, half-second cast. Escape the effects of any immobilization or movement speed reduction effects. So this is going to be really big against a hunter, because a mage who can't move around is dead. Because as soon as that wing clip gets put on a mage, and as I'm main rogue, if I see a mage that's got a wing clip on him, boy, I'm gonna eat you right up. So escape artist is massive, And I would say with that alone is going to trump the human racials. Expansive mind, intelligence by 5%, why not? You know, that's not going to hurt at all. Engineering specialization, increase engineering skill by 15. So you cap at 150 engineering. And what this engineering skill increased by 15 will get you. I believe there might be like two other things that it gets you, but the most useful thing it gets you is the portable bronze mortar. Inflict 85 to 116 fire damage and stuns the target in a 5-yard radius for 2 seconds. Any damage will break it. And I believe what this is basically it's like dynamite where you can use it while moving, or you can throw it while moving, but stuns like a grenade. So really big, very nice added utility there for gnome. On top of it, escape artist, like just oof. And then arcane resistance by 10, which again this is gonna help you against hunter concussive shot. Um, or I guess not again, but yeah, help you with. So in my opinion, like it seems very obvious. The base stats are really good for gnome. They're better than human, and the racials, in my opinion, are hands down better than the human racials for a mage. Because the arcane resistance help you resist that conch shot. The increased intelligence, why not? The escape art is huge. And then the extra portable bronze mortar, um, as opposed to just perception, which that's not it's not even your job as a mage to get rogues out. That's the hunter's job. So all in all, I would say gnome, hands down, really for 19 mage on alliance. Okay, so for horde, the undead racials, we have will the forsaken, provides immunity to charm, fear, and sleep while active. And the effect will last for 5 seconds, 2-minute cooldown. Um, Pretty good. Obviously, it's going to help you against any warlocks, clearly, but really for the priest, um, which you will most likely get caught up in a psychic scream at some point when you go in for the frost nova, um, and you can even like pre-pop it as you go in for the frost nova if there is a priest around. So I think that's pretty good. Cannibalize, it's nice. When activate, regenerate 7% of total health every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So whenever you kill someone, to me this is more of like an RP type of thing. Um, but like if you, well, you won't really run out of food, will you, as a mage? But um, it's kind of more just for RP. It's kind of funny to eat someone after you've killed them. So it's nice, but not that big. Shadow resistance, pretty nice against priest, obviously. Underwater breathing, not applicable. So really just will the Forsaken and that bit of shadow resistance is nice. It'll be nice to stack that with the wand resistance that you have using the BFD wand. For troll racials, we got Berserking, increase attack speed. It says 10 to 10, but it should say 10 to 30. Um, so at full health, you use it, you get 10% reduced casting speed, um, or I guess it would be increased casting speed. And then I believe it's all the way down to 20% of your health, or maybe cap out at 30%. Um, to where if you're at like 30% health, it'll increase and you use it. It'll increase your casting speed by 30%. So nice, but not really that big for a 19 mage. Like great for a level 60 PvE, rating DPS boost. Not that big for a 19 mage because you're casting frost bolts that are like a 1 second cast. And I don't really know, like you're already getting capped out in terms of like cast per minute due to global, the 1 second global. So I don't know exactly how much Berserking's really gonna help you. Um, I guess it would help you win in like a polymorph. Like if you went up against another mage and like you were both gonna poly each other, like you could always win that with Berserking. So in that way, it is nice. But I don't know how often that's really gonna happen. But it is nice. Okay, regeneration allows you to regen 10% of your total health regeneration while in combat. Pretty nice. It'll save your life at some point, but it's not that big. But it is nice. Beast slaying. As a mage, you have no responsibility for killing pets, so I'd say that's not really a big thing. And bow and throwing specialization not applicable for mage. So between the undead and the troll racials, I'd have to side with the undead racials simply because the shadow resistance is really nice when it um, stacks with the wand that you get. Its shadow resistance, um, and then the will of the Forsaken. I feel like you're gonna be in more fears and possibly even asleep if someone decides to use magic dust. Um, I feel like that's gonna be a lot more likely to happen than the situation where you come up where you have to have a poly off between you and another mage, and some moron is gonna come along and break the sheep anyhow, right? So so it's in my opinion, I would say undead racials are going to be better than troll, and we've already discussed how the undead base stats are superior to the troll base stats. So it's pretty much gnome and undead in take the cake in both base stats and racials. I don't think there's really too much of competition there between the other two. So let's get into the spec, and this is where it really gets hairy. And sorry for the formatting, I know it's kind of scuffed here. Um, there's a lot of different specs you can go. So we'll just review them here, and we'll just pull up the DB, and then we'll kind of play around it and see what we can get. But let's go over quickly to summarize. So like full frost spec. Um, well, we will need to see that, won't we? Let's unlock this. And what do we have here? What is that? 5, 3, 1, and 1. Okay. So I like this spec. Um, it gives you the extra. So now again, nobody's done this testing as far as I know, and I feel like someone would have said something if they've done it. And there's really no one in the community who's that hardcore who will sit there and do the testing on the resist, on the hit, or chance to not be resisted in elemental precision. Now I know a lot of people will say you only need two, you only need the 4% to be covered in PvP. But the fact is, I still resist. On my rogue, I've got the 5 resist enchant to cloak, and I still fully resist people's frostbolts. So to me, getting that extra 2% would be worth. Now that's just my opinion, but I know some people say you only need 4%, and that's their opinion. But if it were me on a mage, I would go 6%, just because like whenever I cast a spell, and I mained a mage on the last server, and that's one of the reasons I'll never play mage again. I'll never main a mage ever again because it's so infuriating to have your spell resist. But that's kind of beside the point. So you can decide for yourself whether you want the 4%, which is said to be quote unquote cap, or you can go 6%, which is going to help you against players like me who utilize resistance. Um, but yeah, anyway, we show of course the 5 of 5 improved frostbolt. Because you're casting these rank ones. Now you don't have to go full 5 of 5 if you don't want, because it's already as a rank 1. I believe it's a 1.5 second cast as a rank 1. I could be wrong. I don't play 19 Mage. I don't, but check it out. I would personally go 5 of 5 improve frostbolt, but you can drop a point if you want, of course. Um, and you could throw them there into like permafrost, or you could throw them into, you know, all the way into frostbite. You see, you'll be there at level 19. Um, but the basic premise of this spec is that you got your fully improved frostbolt, so you got the max casting time off of it. You've got the max um, reduction to a chance your opponent resists your frost or fire spells uh, by 6%. And then you're picking up frostbite, which is detrimental because it's a root that lasts for 5 seconds. You're picking it up just so you have the ability, and you're also picking up permafrost, which will increase duration of your chill effect by 1 second and reduce the target speed by an additional 4%. Um, I would like to know if anyone's like looked into the meta of this to see at what point into permafrost do we need to go in order, like if we get that full 3/3 there, will it be enough to become slower than a hunter's wing clip or slower than a warrior's hamstring? Um, if anyone has a mage and wants to do some testing and let us know uh, where this permafrost gets us in relative terms to a hamstring or a wing clip, because it would be nice to know if we are, if we go 2, now all of a sudden our frost bolts are slowing people more than a wing clip, and I kind of doubt that would be the case, but it could be. Um, I would like someone with a 19 mage to drop in the comments there and let us know um, if this is even a thing that permafrost could get us, in relative terms, stronger than a wing clip. Obviously, it's still dispellable, but it's kind of beside the point. So yeah, there's that spec, which is we'll just put that back, which looks like that. I think frostbite's really big to pick up, like at least just 1 point in it, because it's for 5 seconds to be rooted for 5 seconds is really big, even if it's a 5% chance. Especially if you're sitting there spamming rank ones, like you just spam it over and over and over until you get that frostbite to proc. And then we also show like this fire spec, and this isn't totally outlandish, but this is if you wanted to be a full-on fire boy. Now what do we show there? We showed those two into range. Okay, so I mean I could see something a little bit more like that than what we had there originally, just to pick up that stun, just for that chance to get that stun. Um, I'd imagine you might even want to go a little bit, well, you can't really, because you are kind of still locked into this elemental precision, unless you just don't want to have any into elemental precision, which I would kind of definitely advise against. You definitely want to pick up at least that 4 there, that 4% out of elemental precision. Um, but if you're going to go into fire, definitely have to get the casting time reduction off your fireball, because it is a long cast time. And then you don't necessarily, I guess, have to go into increased range, although it is nice because, Well, you're definitely gonna want it, but I guess you don't necessarily have to have it. You could um, reduce it down so that your fire spells are the same range as your frost spells, and then maybe pick up two more there into the stun if you wanted to. But cooldown fire blast and ignite. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. It's I don't really advise going a fire mage though. Is the thing. You can do it and play around, but it's not really conducive to team play. It's really just I'm doing this because this is it tickles my fancy to do this. You're not really being a team player as a fire mage. Um, but the impact is extremely annoying to get impacted. So it is nice to get that. Uh, the range is kind of nice, but yeah. Overall, I would say fire spec is not a very good play. But obviously, it's pretty much, in my opinion, between flamethrowing and impact. After you've gotten these five here and the two there into elemental precision. So let's take a look. There's so many different combinations. There we show like another. Excuse me. We show here like another variant of fire where you've knocked off 1 point in improve fireball, and just for that extra point there into the stun because you're doubling its effect from 2% to 4% is a doubling, and because it's a doubling, I mean, I guess you could say that that's more important than to double, as opposed to going from 4 to 6, which would be, you know, a which would be what, 50% increase, as opposed to a 100% increase in chance to stun. So it's just a variant there. Just, I mean, the thing is there's so many different combinations. I mean, oh, so it is important to note that arcane focus is also important to consider, because this is what we're talking about when we're looking at a poly. So elemental precision is for your frost and fire spells, but another really big spell of yours is poly, and so that's why we show here picking up 2 into arcane focus, so that you're getting that 4% quote unquote spell cap for PvP, um, for your polys. And depends how you know how important, or how much you utilize poly to say whether or not these 2 points are going to be worth it for you. Because if a poly resists, it might not be great, but you can always just repoly, right? Like, it's not, because once the poly lands, like, they're stuck in the poly until someone breaks it or dispels it. So it's like it's not as big, um, as like the 4% reduction in resist for your frost spells. Because like if a frostbolt doesn't land, like say it's on a rogue, a frostbolt doesn't land, like it's gonna it's gonna force like you to blow your Nova cooldown or something along those lines. Like it's going to kind of break a play, whereas a resisted poly is not necessarily going to break a play, if you will. Um, so there's arcane focus. Um, what else do we have here? So yeah, this one is kind of much more of a sort of, where are we? Is that what it was? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So that's what it is. So this is more of sort of like I guess you could call it like a pre-mating type of spec where you do have those two into arcane focus. You've got the two into elemental precision fully improved Frostbolt and 1 into Frostbite. Now, if I was pre-mating, I might consider. Nah, I might consider something closer to this so that I'm doubling my chance um, at a Frostbite, a 10% chance at a Frostbite. Um, yeah, to take off that 0.1 second off of my Frostbolt. I might roll something like this for like a pre-mating type spec. Um, and then here's kind of like a deep frost where we go heavy into where did we take out the other point? Oh, we took it out of Frostbolt. Okay, so like a deep frost, like all the way into permafrost. Um, that's just like a big kiting, just pure kite spec. Um, eh, I, I'm sorry guys, I'm not all that passionate about 19 Mage, and then we call this the Le Napoleano, a little bit of everything. Where where we pick up, what was that one here? Do we go 2 there? Yeah, yeah. 3 there, 1 there, 1 there. A little bit of everything. So your fire blast have a 2% chance to stun. You got a 5% chance to root them. You have got that little bit extra on your permafrost, and you're still getting the majority of improved frostbolt, and you're still getting your cap 4% for your frost and fire spells. Um, but yeah, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not more passionate about 19 Mage. It's just never really like I made one once, and it was like not really my play style. And like I told you, I mained a Mage, and boy, I'll never do it again. For me personally, I'm all about melee play style is just makes sense to me, and it's really enjoyable. And so I've always just sort of shied away from Mage. But that being said, a good Mage can just make the biggest difference. One of the people who I went against originally on Nostalrius, he was a guy who gave us the most trouble um, as like a flag carrier. One, because of how consistently he played basically every night against us, and he was damn good too. And he knew how to use his mage, and I'd say like that's where I got really really good was playing against him, where he would carry flag as a mage, which is fairly unorthodox as in 19s. But man, could he play a mage, and he could kite for days with that thing. But yeah, like I said, if I were gonna do like just the basic like if I were to have a mage right now, I'd probably do something like that. I would honestly probably roll with something like that. But I'm not an expert on 19 Mage. I just wanted to kind of walk you through like what I see with the different specs. I think you can do basically anything you want. But I think it's also important to kind of, I think something like that, whoops, might be a little more orthodox actually. Just so you know, like 4% is considered to be like a spell cap for PvP. So you always want to pick up that 2 into Elemental Precision, and then pick up the 2 into Arcane Focus if you're really big into landing your polys. Um, and then Frostbite is just really, really good. Very irritating as a melee player to get frostbitten. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys later.